Fam, God didn't bring you this far to lose. Keep your head up and keep fighting. Forget all the strongest soldier stuff. God put you in this battle because he knew wasn't nobody gonna ride for him as hard as you do. When the enemy showed up to God's doorstep and he said, I want a battle, God needed somebody on the front line and he chose you. And he didn't choose you by accident. He didn't choose you for no reason. He chose you because he know when the going gets tough and the bullets start flying, you ain't gonna do no running. You're gonna be right there standing the whole time on all 10. Like, if this is what we gotta do, let's do it. God know everything you done been through, so when the enemy come up saying, I want to tempt somebody, God say, I recommend this one to you. Just so I can show you it ain't no breaking them. They done been through way worse than what you trying to tempt them with. You think this gonna break them? Alright, cool, go ahead. I'm gonna show you something. You done been through stuff the average person will never have to experience in their life, and if they even experienced half of it, they'll fold every single time. And out of all the things you could possibly do, you want to complain? You complaining about the greatest thing that could ever possibly happen to you. And it's not that you get to a point where you can trust God, that God has gotten to a point where he can trust you. You right, everybody don't go through this, but God can look at you and say, I can trust you to go through this. Whatever it may be, it had to happen. You had to go through the breakup. You had to lose the job. They had to reject you. The deal couldn't go through. And it's not because God don't love you. It's because he loved you so much, he refused to let you settle. You upset with God saying no, and you don't even realize had he not said no, you would never hear him say yes. God is trying to set you up to be somebody people look up and not somebody people look over, but you got to be honest and assess where you are. God has already given you everything you need, but it's going to take everything you got. So fam, if this is really what you want to do, let's do it. Because I promise you, it ain't a demon in hell that can do anything with you. The only reason why it's so uncomfortable is because God is showing you this ain't where you belong and it's not where you gonna stay. You just passing through. You passing through. So every hater, doubter, naysayer, every single one of them will remember your face when you make it to the top. You done fought for everything you have. You done fought for your dreams, fought for your family, fought for your relationships. And if you haven't noticed yet, you pretty good at fighting. So if you believe this is yours, fight like it's yours and don't stop swinging until you win. From this point forward, your mindset has to be anything that stands against me will be defeated. So if they stack the odds against you, guess what? The odds gonna have to get it too. And if you gonna say it, stand on it. Stand on that for the rest of the year and watch where God take you. Fam, God didn't bring you this far to lose. Keep your head up and keep fighting. Forget all the strongest soldier stuff. God put you in this battle because he knew wasn't nobody gonna ride for him as hard as you do. When the enemy showed up to God's doorstep and he said, I want a battle, God needed somebody on the front line and he chose you. He didn't choose you by accident. He didn't choose you for no reason.
So I'm sitting in my office and I was just watching that video from Jesse Jackson Jr. And all my life, it's about John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I don't think the religious institution over centuries, not even decades, centuries, I've ever really explained that fully. I remember one time reading the Daily Bread where it says, it's like God is like a chicken that's that laid eggs, trying to hatch the eggs into chicks, and then like a snake comes and it's probably try to defend the actual egg, the eggs, but got defeated, but was still over the egg with a cold body, and that is what it's like when Jesus came, was to protect us and give up his body so that we be alright. And that's one of my favorite phrases when you said Jesus paid it all. But what's trouble we got this that presentation from Jesse Jackson Jr. I think I find that I have a personal meaning of it. It's just as what he said. I've been hearing probably since youth about, people saying, God have his chosen ones and they have to go through it and deal with issues. And just like the story of Job from the Bible, where God actually offering him up for the devil to test him, to show the devil what the love of God looked like and being faithful in God. And Joseph lost his kids, he lost his wealth, not Joseph, Job. But Joseph is a different story by himself. Almost the same thing, but in a different way. You know, it's parallel but different direction. And but after all the test was done with Job, he remained faithful, and he regained back all that he had lost and then some, even more. But so this is so what the story is telling you. Jesus is a similar thing when God sent him to earth. We're gonna look at twist, and the little twist is what I'm going to explain. You have to go through things. You understand? And bear in mind, at certain points in Jesus' life, he knew the crucifixion was coming. He knew he would have been denied by Peter. He knew he would have been betrayed by Jesus. Even if it's up to the coming time, the Passover, even if it comes to the time of his crucifixion, that he knew. But what Jesus also knew, Jesus also has to deal with mankind, the world, with all the miracles and teaching that he has been doing. And he was also denied by the people who have witnessed everything and witnessed all that he has done. And when Pharaoh asked, who do you want, Barabbas or Jesus, to be free, and they asked Barabbas to be free and for Jesus to be crucified. So you got to go through it just as Jesus did. And I think that's a pointed lesson in life. You understand? But the twist to it, which I gotta explain, is that you have to. And I'm getting cold bump on, back in Jamaica, my ex-colleague. You have to. 3 things you have to do. You have to put in the work while you're going through it. You have to put in the work. This is how Jesus, the preaching and the miracle, And the thing about with Jesus' crucifixion too, before I go through the other 2, as I said, 3 things. Jesus was there in human form. So he was able to feel what we feel, even with all that might and power. You can imagine you as being Jesus, being seeing what you have done and all the people still remain who they are. And when you're big and the day come for crucifixion or the true stuff at him, you put the fake crown and the crown with the crown with that piercing thing on his head and nail him to the cross. Mighty God. Nail him to the cross. That just think about that, all that emotions that you have to go through, that feeling. And I do not know how God received that, because you do not know how much of God is human life in terms of feeling, and obviously has some understanding and some kind of feeling. But we do not know what God formed is like, but for somehow there's some connection with what Jesus had to go through and what God felt when Jesus had to go through all that he did up until the crucifixion. I don't know if Jesus has to report to him. That's not my point, but my point is to tell the story. So Jesus was in human-like form, and he was able to feel and go through. So one, but he kept, as I forgot which part in the Bible said, he kept doing the work. The other 2 is that he has never lost faith. He has never lost faith. Jesus has never lost faith or hope. He has never lost faith at all. And while we look for earthly rewards, it kind of parallel that Jesus was given. His reward was when he resurrected and went to be with God. Because Jesus wasn't giving an earthly reward because there was no need for him to stay on earth. So his reward was a bit different when he with his Father. So while we are here, our reward will be different. We will be on land and submit to our reward until it's time to meet our Maker, time to meet God, which is on God. Just as in Job, just as in Joseph, as I said, they're parallel stories, but they're different directions. They're parallel school line going the same direction, travel different paths. So this just caused me to just say that um, we have to we have to we have to go through it. You understand? And we have to put in the work. And we have to keep the faith. And just as someone said in a presentation, like Jason Jackson, the guy is that, guys, please, I'm begging you, when you get your reward, you cannot live in the part that was lacking the reward. You cannot get the reward and then to go back in the fire or go back in the path of unrighteousness. You have to be a new person, a new being, and a new path. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, all it together, because, I remember one time reading something where some people said, I don't want to go back, this is the end of the story. So some people say they feel like they are being punished. I don't know, and a lot of people were commenting, like the Me Too movement, no pun intended. I don't want to make this, I don't want any association with that movement. I got to, that's a wrong movement. I just want to focus on this I'm talking about. I don't want it to end up where people feel like, that's the story they're being punished. But you got to keep the faith, you got to keep hope alive. You understand? I've reached the point where, and let me explain something to you between hope and faith. You understand? I, in a sense, became hopeless. Because hope, in a sense, is my timing. Faith is God's timing. And what Isaiah 60:22 said, when it's your time, you know when it's right, and He will make it happen. So when it's your time, that's you holding faith in God, that, okay, I feel like I'm being punished, I feel like I've done all I could done, it's over to you, I've been trying and asking, you go ahead and do your thing. But while you have faith in God, it come back to the point I made earlier when they say faith without work is dead. I was even thinking about that message when I said what I said earlier. You have to put in the work, because faith without work is dead. So this was actually will come full circle moment. And they talk about faith again, back to Isaiah again, and have a testimony to tell about this whole Isaiah thing and everything, book of Isaiah. And they that wait upon the Lord shall renew his strength. They shall mount up with wings like an eagle. Okay, Isaiah 40:31. So we're going to even be planning this testimony, this presentation. Because I'm going to give my testimony, not yet. But this presentation has actually become full circle moment. So I'm going to close this, my brothers and sisters, and let you know, you understand, you've got to have the faith, you've got to hold on to hope, you understand, you've got to be shaken with hope. You lose it, you get it back. Get the faith, put in the work. Just know, just keep the love for God, because like I said, the greatest of all is love. That's why I love St. Matthew 5:44. That you say, love your enemy. Pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. You understand? So, first of all, love for people, love for self. That's what I'm gonna go out there to do when the time is right. Love for self, love for people, and most of all, love for God. Because for God, again, another full circle moment. For God so loved the world that he gave his only forgotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. He loves us. We love him back. Alright, brothers and sisters, have a good day. This is Lion Ra, and blessings and love to all.